I'm Dee from The Beauty of Our Dreams. I work with Empath Entrepreneurs, and I'm here with Tracey. Hi, Tracey.
Hi, everyone. Hello, I'm Tracey. Welcome to We Knew the Moon. Today we're going to be doing a podcast on our first phase of the moon cycle, new moon. I'm going to be guiding you through what the new moon is, what it means, explain a few little bits that you can do at this phase. We'll go into a little bit of astrology. Also, I found some really interesting stuff on eclipses and black moon, which I didn't know prior to researching this podcast.
I love dark moon. Yes.
All exciting. The moon has 8 phases. Kind of goes round in a wheel, so they flow into each other quite nicely. And the beginning is what we call new moon. And it's when you go out there and you can't see a moon in the sky at all. So it's a very dark phase. There's no moon, you can't see it. Doesn't mean it's not there. It's just that the sun's position to the moon is not reflecting on it.
It's when the moon is in between the earth and the sun.
Right.
So it means that the reflective side, the illuminated side of the moon, i.e. the bit that the sun is reflecting its sunlight off of, is not facing the earth. So we can only see the dark side. Whereas when you have a full moon, the moon is on the other side of the earth from the sun, meaning the sun is reflecting off the side of the moon that we can see.
Maybe we could put a diagram on our website of the position, because once you see it in picture form, it makes perfect sense.
Exactly.
So look up to the sky when it's new moon and you won't see anything, which is why it's quite a dark, mysterious time, associated with a bit of mystery. I like to see new moon because it's the start of the cycle as my mini New Year's Eve, where I like to prep to make my intentions for the next lunar phase, the next 30 days.
A bit of a fresh start. Clean slate. Those cliches that we love.
Setting new intentions. Really write your to-do list and think about what you want to achieve for the next up and coming month. New moon will only last about 2 to 3 days, and there'll only be one day really when you're at 100% new moon during those days. So really have a think about your short-term goals, what you want to achieve, and write a to-do list.
I think it's really good at this point to think about what your New Year's resolutions were or your short-term goals were and break it down into sort of more bite-sized chunks. So if you've got a short, medium, long-term goal, what do you need to do during this upcoming lunar phase, this upcoming month, to get you closer to achieving that goal?
So you write down 12, you split it into 12 sections almost. So you need to just reach a certain stage in a project. So it might not be completing it because it's only a month here. Let's be realistic. If it's a massive project, you're not going to squeeze it all into a month.
No.
But you can aim to get to a certain stage in that.
That's going to move you forward and keep you motivated.
Make sure it's achievable.
Exactly. Achievable. Breaking it down also makes the whole goal seem more achievable.
Yeah.
Designing a new website, starting a new business, writing a book, all of these are quite big things. And we might have hopes to do them, but they seem too big. And it's only when you break it down a bit and you decide what the next steps are and you break it down into bite-sized chunks and decide at a new moon, what are you going to do this month, that it feels more achievable and doable.
And how good is it to mentally do that as well? The project can be really overwhelming if you look at the big picture, but you can tell Dee's a business consultant. I love this way of thinking, that you break it down and all of a sudden it becomes manageable and achievable. And you actually feel good about yourself because you've ticked off a mini section of it.
And how good is that for your motivation to carry on going as well, right? You know, once you get started on a project and you realize that it's not as bad as you feared it would be, you're seeing some results and some outcomes. And so you're like, let's keep on going with this. It feels good doing it.
Do it in manageable chunks. Really, in the moon cycle, it's only going to be for the first 2 weeks that you're going to be driven and productive. And we'll explain this as we go through the series. So I talked about a month to do things. Your production for new moon is really 2 weeks, and then the other 2 weeks are more reflection. So it's cutting it down even further, and write your goals really if you're going to be writing or doing anything that uses the brain. 2 weeks is really your goal.
I kind of think of the new moon as the spring, that spring vibe of feeling motivated, excited, wanting to get on and do things. And then the full moon onwards is kind of more like, you know, the autumn, winter time where you're kind of hibernating a bit, reflecting, planning in your mind what you want to do next year, what you want to change for the next cycle.
And if you do that right, then by the time you hit new moon again, you're ready, your energy's right. If you don't use the second part of the cycle to rest and you fight it, and we'll talk about it more when we do the detailed phases, I think by the time you hit new moon, a lot of people can mention during new moon that they feel quite tired, they feel quite drained. But I personally think that if you use the previous phase to rest, you should be ready for new moon. Do you know what I do? I always feel like I need to clean my house a little bit.
Yeah,
I move things around. Like that Sunday evening prior to work on a Monday morning, you make sure your fridge is stocked, your house is ready, maybe you plan your work outfit if you're super organised, your washing's done. So when your working week starts on a Monday, you're pretty much prepped. Yeah, and you're going to have a good, productive week. It's kind of like that with new moon. So just give yourself like a really good head start. I think the key word with new moon is fresh start, setting goals, intentions, ready to drive forward in that next phase. And luckily enough, we get 12 new moons a year. There's usually once a month. So it works quite nicely, like you said, of breaking things up into 12 bite-sized chunks so you can do a big project through the year. So, Dee, have you heard of a black moon?
Yeah, I think we talked about this before. Is that the same as a dark moon?
No.
Oh, then I don't know what a black moon is.
No, this is something new I've learned. And actually, it's a little bit of a minefield because a black moon can have multiple meanings. But in terms of a new moon, so some years you have 13 new moons. Because the solar system and time and things are moving a little bit, things need to catch up. So there's an extra moon added in by the universe. And it's called a black moon.
Oh, so what? Is a black moon always a new moon?
Always a new moon.
Okay, because from what I know, every year you have either 12 full moons and 13 new moons, or 12 new moons and 13 full moons. So basically there's 25 new / full moons every year.
So an extra full moon is called a blue moon.
Yes.
And an extra new moon is called a black moon. So there's a lot of songs about blue moons, and you say once in a blue moon, but the black moon is the new moon's equivalent. But people probably don't take as much note because you can't see it. But also the black moon has other meanings in spirituality as well. But it can also refer to the absence of a new moon. So just like time catching up on itself, sometimes a month doesn't have a new moon. And again, it's called a black moon. In terms of what they actually spiritually mean, a black moon just works the same. You still set your intentions on it. So I've made a list of things to do on a new moon.
Right, good.
And one of them I think is really lovely, which I've never tried, but I will now, is lighting a candle.
Oh.
It's the darkest night of the month. And by lighting a candle, it shows intentions that you plan to bring light into your life. How lovely is that?
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And what you guys can't see is that Tracey's just given me a candle, and here we are in the new moon cycle.
Today. Yes, so light your candle tonight, Dee. It's just a really nice sort of ritual to signify welcoming of light. Also start something new, which we've suggested with your goals, or meet someone new as well. So embrace like lots of new people coming into your life. You may, as fate leads us down the path, have opportunities to go on meetings, on dates.
So just stay open to them.
So stay really open to having new people. It's also the most fertile day of the month, so I'll leave that one to your imagination. Make a list of actions and goals, which we've talked about. Spells. Now, I'm not a big spell.
No, we've always said that we like our little rituals and so forth, but I don't think either of us are like chanting spells, are we?
No.
Me, partly because I never remember anything, so I can't.
I'm so scared of doing them wrong as well. I think we should do maybe a podcast on like the laws of spells, because when you do spells, there's so much you need to be mindful about. It's not nice to change the mindset and involve others.
Let's get an expert in to teach us.
Yeah, I almost think I feel like it's a very expert thing. Have you watched the film The Butterfly Effect, Dee?
Yes.
To me, it feels like we all have a path, we all have a destiny, and by adding a spell, sometimes that can be enhancing your destiny and your path, which is perfect, but then you have to be careful, I think, by changing it. If you are a spell person, if you're positive with the spells you do, or you're confident with them, this is a very busy period for affirmations around positive change and manifesting your dreams and making your wishes come true. You know, new moon is a very important spot on the calendar to do them. But there's things to avoid as well, don't avoid new opportunities. Don't avoid meeting new people. You've been invited to a party or a meeting. Say yes, because this is the time where the universe, fate, destiny wants you to do this. And by avoiding that, you're kind of closing yourself off to these opportunities.
Can I just jump in and say that this reminds me of a book that I read called The Yes Man? They made a film, but the film did not, from memory, follow the book that religiously. But the book is basically a guy, a comedian, whose name will come to me. It's not Dave Gorman, it's his friend who does a lot of stuff with him. It'll come to me. He pledges to say yes to any opportunity, any question that comes up, because he realizes he's stuck in a rut.
Even if he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Even if it's his worst nightmare.
Pretty much. So it's kind of an autobiography of this guy for this 1 year where he's pledged to say yes. So it's a true story. And it just goes on about all of his adventures that he's gone through as a result of saying yes to things he would have ordinarily said no to. And obviously this is an extreme case. You know, we're not saying that people should say yes to everything, but try to stay open during this time.
Exactly. I mean, life is what you make of it. And that reminds me similar to Darren Brown's concept of luck. If you believe you're unlucky, then you're not going to open yourself up to playing the lottery. You're not going to look around for opportunities. You're not going to enter competitions. You're not going to look on the floor of a £20 note that someone's dropped.
Danny Wallace is the name of the guy. Yes, I did. I really recommend it. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt again with another little exercise that I love doing with people. I went to a self-compassion sort of day retreat with the fat funny one, Jess. That's what she calls herself.
Oh, I was going to say,
I know, that's not me being a dick. She is really funny. She is not fat at all, but that's her sort of name, her stage name and whatever. And she did this amazing day retreat. And the lady that was presenting, she made us do this exercise where she said, all right, I want us all to do this exercise now. If you're listening at home, close your eyes. Now tell me one red thing that's in your environment.
Oh, that's tricky because we're in the garden.
That was quite difficult, right? Because you weren't looking for a red thing.
No.
Now open your eyes again, look around, and find a yellow thing. Look around until you found the yellow thing, and then close your eyes once you've seen it. Right, you've got your eyes closed. So what is the yellow thing?
Charlie, my dog.
Okay, yeah. It's kind of a beigey colour, but we'll allow that also. But that was easier because you were looking out for it, right?
Right.
You were looking for the yellow thing, so you saw the yellow thing. It's the same with positive experiences, positive thoughts, negative experiences, and so forth. If you're looking out, if you've got that negative mindset and you're looking out for the negative, you're more likely to see it.
And attract it as
Exactly.
well.
And if you're looking for positives, if you're looking for opportunities, then you're more likely to notice them when they actually turn up.
That's a lovely way of thinking. Yeah, I think you definitely... Law of attraction, right?
Exactly. It's all based on these similar ideas.
You receive what you put out and expect.
Because it means you're open to it, you're looking for it, you're creating opportunities for it to happen. Like you say, you're buying the lottery ticket. You're not going to win the lottery unless you buy it.
You've got to be in it to win it.
Exactly. So, and it's the same with all these other opportunities. You're creating these spaces for the good things to happen to you.
Yeah.
Which, again, is very much new moon energy,
right?
New moon
is. Yeah.
All about
every opportunity that's given that feels right for you. But don't spend time around people who will drain your energy. So we're saying say yes to everything and take every opportunity. You know, there are going to be people out there who will take advantage of this new moon energy and will drain you.
And you want to make sure it's going into the right thing, your energy.
Yeah.
It's not going into procrastinating. This is why we like to get everything ready so that we're prepped to go to work with our energy.
Exactly.
And it's the same with people that are going to drain your energy. You want to use it for good.
Just avoid it during this stage, which makes perfect sense. You've geared yourself up. You're ready to start your goals. You're ready for the next 2 weeks. Don't let someone else's energy, maybe a friend, maybe a colleague, maybe a stranger, try and
probably your partner.
Maybe your partner.
Most likely.
Avoid it. Protect yourself from it. Don't surround yourself by this negative field.
Have your sort of boundaries in place with them, I think.
So Dee, in our last episode, touched on when the moon enters the different zodiac signs. It's fascinating how different new moon's energies can feel when they enter new signs. New Moon is always going to be about new intentions, but they always have a different feel. So some of them may be new emotional intentions, some of them may be career intentions, some may be life intentions, some may be love intentions. So I'm going to read out a very quick list again of each sign, just as a reminder, but we do, like Dee said, go into a lot more detail on the website about what crystals you need, aromas,
suggested activities at that time,
affirmations.
And also just a reminder, if you sign up on our mailing list, you get these to your inbox at each of the new and full moons, so you don't have to worry about keeping track. We'll do it for you.
Notes on this. So, are you ready, Dee? Here's my list. I'm going really quickly again. Aries, new moon, time to take action, move forward and be courageous and bold. Aries and new moon really match very well.
I imagine that being super productive work time, for example.
Definitely. Taurus, sorting out your material possessions, your financial plans and money, so it's a financial new moon. Gemini, chatting, socialising, journaling. So very much like socialising, chatting, documenting, gathering information. Cancer, bit of a nurturing self-care one, spending time with family. It is quite an emotional new moon, Cancer.
Which, not to date our podcast before we even air it, but that's what we're in at the moment.
In Cancer right now. Hence
and we've been emotional messes, I think it's safe to say.
That sums it up quite nicely. Yeah.
And we've pledged to be very caring to ourselves. Just had a chat about taking baths and taking little outings and looking after ourselves and just feeling a bit stronger emotionally from now on.
All going to be okay. It's all fine. Leo. So it's time to show off and learn how to love yourself. Bit of self-confidence in new moon, Leo. Virgo. Time to get organised and take stock. Do your inventories, your to-do lists, get hold of your life. Libra, time to look at your partnerships, maybe review them, and also find a bit of your self-identity as well, like especially with your very close partnerships. Find your boundaries, find who you are, who they are. It's a bit of a review. Scorpio, time for healing, finding peace and coming to some conclusions. Sagittarius, the traveller. Time to discover new things, new people, places, try a new restaurant, book a holiday, see the world. Capricorn, making your mark, establishing traditions, planning for the future. Pisces, dreamers, creators, finding your spiritual side, good one to meditate to, also a nice one to have a bath to. Very watery, Pisces. So that is generally the 12 signs. I have missed one day. Aquarius, the air sign, the future planner, the humanitarian. Time to review like your social relationships and
your purpose
for the future and how you're going to make your mark on the map. New moon will enter one of those signs. Check out on our website what it is. It'll be in that sign for about 3 days again, and that's the kind of theme, the story of what that new moon is.
The characteristics of that moon.
Characteristics.
Yeah, I like the thought of the moon having characteristics.
Yeah.
Traits, personality traits.
But it only stays in that sign for 3 days, so don't worry if it doesn't quite suit you. It will pass. We always say these stages pass, and they will. This new moon in Cancer will pass too, and it's all going to be okay.
If you've got stuff on that list that kind of makes you shudder or cringe, like stock taking, inventory, finances, then maybe you should look at planning it during that new moon where it will be more conducive to those activities.
Yeah.
Because it'll go marginally easier if you do it in a time, like if you try to do, for example, your accounts in Pisces, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Why make it harder for yourself?
Exactly.
So, especially if you don't like the sound of some of those, try to do them in the period where it will be most conducive, because you'll have better luck and it will be easier.
I think that's exactly it. Just look at what it's doing, look at what the sign means, and see how you're going to feel for those few days. And again, I always say in astrology, you don't have to do it. It's not written in stone, but it's like walking up a hill or walking down a hill. You can go up the hill, it might be a bit harder. You can go against the grain with what's in the stars, or you can walk down it and follow the path and get to your destination a bit quicker.
As we always say as well, we understand that not everyone works for themselves or lives on an island. So sometimes it can be hard, to tell your boss, I can't do this right now because new moon is in Cancer, for example.
Yeah.
It's just a guide. You can't live your life 100% by these things because of all the external factors. But what you can plan and what you can influence if you do it in tune with nature and the moon and so forth, it's just, like we say, easier, right?
But as you're saying that, Dee, I'm just thinking, look at us, we're recording a podcast, it's New Moon in Cancer. We're both finding our communication quite emotional and difficult today. But we've had to do it because this is our schedule, and it's these challenges as well which are helping me understand this moon.
Yeah.
Rather than going with it, sometimes you'll come up with challenges against it, and you understand, oh, wow, this is what the moon's doing today, this is the phase it's in, these are the intentions. The challenges are just as good as going with it.
And it's been nice, exactly. It has been nice understanding that this might be a little bit of a challenging time to do a podcast recording, for example.
Yeah.
So therefore, we tell ourselves we're just going to be kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go to plan, if we need to abort mission, if you know what I mean, we're just going to be a little bit more forgiving with ourselves. It's only paying more attention to what the moon's been doing that I realize how much it's influenced me. I always knew that it did, but it's only going into more detail that you realize how much. And I thought that would throw my life into chaos. Like, how can I do anything, plan anything, schedule anything when my whole persona is dictated by the moon, But actually, I feel it's easier for me to plan things and do things because I'm more aware of when I should do things and when I shouldn't.
Eclipses, Dee.
Eclipses.
This is a new one for me. I never really understood eclipses.
So, I'm sorry, I had a million questions, but I'll wait until...
Go for it.
Is it a solar eclipse or... Yeah?
Yeah, so the new moon one is called a solar eclipse.
Yeah.
The full moon one is called a lunar eclipse, which we'll go into on the new moon one, yeah. So a solar eclipse, when the moon moves in front of the sun during the daytime, causing it to go dark. I remember there being a solar eclipse and everyone rushing to Cornwall. It was in 1999. Yeah. It doesn't seem that long ago.
But it was. I remember it, and I remember watching an episode of EastEnders about it where Ian, I think, took his family to Cornwall to watch it.
It was a big deal. People were making things out of toilet roll because the advice was not to look directly at the sun. But
pin boxes.
Everything was going dark.
The newspapers gave us glasses to wear, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. So,
that's the last one.
Well, the full one. So there are solar eclipses that happen quite a lot, but they're usually partial, and they usually say them in a percentage. So you can have a 90% solar eclipse, a 70%, where the sun and the moon will just cover each other partially. But to get that total darkness, the 100%.
Total eclipse, as they say in the
total eclipse. The full eclipse happened in 1999, dependent on the place you are as well. And that's why everyone ran to Cornwall to get the full effect of it. The next eclipse, which will be 90%, so it's not even a full one that happened in 1999, but the next closest one will be, date for your diary date, 2026. And what do they mean? Well, to get your mindset a little bit into what an eclipse means spiritually, I'm going back to what the sun means. Mm-hmm. It's driven, it's about your outer personality, it's about what you project to the world, masculine energy. It causes your drive and your ambition and for you to physically move forward. And the new moon signifies ambitions, intentions, goals and moving forward. Combine those two together, eclipse is the sun and the moon overlapping in the daytime, so we're awake. And it means that it's going to trigger external changes for us to move forward.
Ooh, exciting.
So you've got the sun, which is the external part, the physical outer personality. And you've got the new moon, which is the changes, and you join them together and there'll be external changes that you see. We're awake as well, which is rare for the moon to do something funky, and we're actually awake for it. So that's the meaning of a solar eclipse. And we'll go into lunar eclipses on the full moon. So, I hope you've enjoyed my quick guide to the new moon. Our next little podcast will be on the next phase of the moon, which is waxing crescent.
Going in and doing the research for those episodes, so much I didn't know about them, and it was really exciting to read more about it. So
can't wait to hear that one day. We always think of new moon and full moon being the main one.
And they're great starter points, aren't they? If you want to start living more in tune with the lunar cycles, then start with new moons and full moons.
Definitely.
Introduce the other ones as you get more comfortable with the material and so forth.
Start to learn and feel the moon's energy. And
Well, happy new moon if it's new moon time.
Yes, happy new
And
moon.
we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
If you enjoyed that and you want more from us, why don't you head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/We Knew the Moon, and check out some bonus content.
Also, if you want to stay up to date, you can follow us on our Facebook page at we.knew.the.moon. If you could leave us a review on our Facebook page, that would mean a lot.
Our Instagram handle is the same as our Facebook, at we.knew.the.moon. We are on Twitter at We Knew the Moon 1, and we are also on Pinterest. Just search for We Knew the Moon.
Finally, if you want lots more fun, moon info and all things spiritual, plus our lovely shop, please visit our website, wenewthemoon.co.uk.